For a long time now, fight fans across the world have been looking to see something truly inspiring. A fight like no other. Forget all the titles, all the belts, all the critics. This is one that the fight world has highly anticipated based on the quality of the fight itself. Anthony Joshua is the world's heavyweight hero and has been for some time. Fight fans have followed Joshua on an immense boxing journey of triumphs and even some failures over the last few years. Joshua has smashed his way to the top and in doing so has taken on some of the best heavyweights of this era, including the legendary Vladimir Klitschko himself. Joshua's victory against Klitschko was incredible, and this was truly a fight full of grit and nails. Certainly one that went down in boxing heavyweight history as an important milestone in Joshua's career, to say the least. It was at this moment that the world knew we were dealing with a true champion. Joshua had proven himself. But aside from all the glitz and glamour, fight fans have searched high and low for a fighter that could really give Joshua a run for his money. Again, we're not talking about titles here, we're talking about pure boxing combat. There are many fights that critics say should be lined up next for Joshua based on the rankings alone. How about Tyson Fury, or Deontay Wilder, or even Anthony Joshua versus Andy Ruiz Jr., the trilogy? Without a doubt, these would be incredible fights, and even the fans are hungry to see them. In fact, Andy Ruiz himself is reported to have thrown his hat in the ring to make the trilogy fight happen. But there's one fight that may be 100 times more worthwhile to see in this generation of the division. Which fighter out there on the horizon looks capable of taking on our hero? Who could be tough enough and pose enough of a realistic threat against AJ, who has already proven himself against some of the division's baddest fighters? Well, look no further, because we've found just the man for you. Fight fans across the world have been anticipating this one for quite some time. Anthony Joshua versus Oleksandr Usyk. Who? If you don't know who Usyk is by now, well, you must have been living under a rock for the last few years. This is the Ukrainian-born former cruiserweight champion who has been widely considered one of the pound-for-pound best fighters in the world at cruiserweight, defeating Tony Bellew to unify the division in 2018 after winning the World Boxing Super Series. What an astonishing feat for this young man at only 31 years old. Just take a look at this Ukrainian warrior, because that's exactly what this man is. A true warrior through and through. He has the physique that says he will annihilate his opponents and dispatch his enemies without a slither of mercy and zero hesitation. Usyk has come a long way since then. Today he is 34 years of youth and has consistently shown the world just how much of a warrior he really is. His heavyweight fights include Chaz Witherspoon in 2019 and then taking a decision win against Derek Chisora in London last Halloween. Indeed, against Chisora, Usyk faced his first real test in the heavyweight division. Critics have praised him for surviving an early onslaught, including some of Chisora's infamous cannonball punches. The fight began positively for Chisora as he came forward hurling big shots and gave Usyk plenty to think about. There was a fair bit of holding and hitting from the Brit in the early stages as he successfully made the contest rough and tough for the Ukrainian. Chisora's wild hooks over the top occasionally landed and troubled Usyk, but by round 3, the former undisputed cruiserweight champion had started to find a consistent home for his own stinging southpaw left hand. Del Boy Chisora then caught Usyk's attention with an overhand right at the start of the 4th, but as he predicted pre-fight, he was forced to eat a lot of leather in the following round. By the halfway point, the Ukrainian looked to have adapted well to his opponent's roughhousing and learned to counter it effectively. In round 7, Usyk boxed literal rings around Chisora, circling the 36-year-old and landing at will. At the end of the session, Usyk put together a stunning combination which sent Chisora backwards into the ropes. The bell rang at the perfect time for the staggered fighter. Usyk responded every time and answered every question. In the final round, the Ukrainian saw home the victory and outclassed Chisora at range. The judges' scores declared a unanimous decision in favor of Usyk. Some critics have stated that this was hardly an impressive breakthrough into the heavyweight division for Usyk. But the truth is, he has shown time and time again his ability to learn from his experience, adapt, and come back even smarter for his next fight. And you better believe that's exactly what Usyk will do. But he's not the only fighter who has consistently used previous experience to develop his boxing intelligence. Remember when this happened? Andy Ruiz Jr. caused one of the biggest upsets in heavyweight boxing history by making an absolute meal of the world's hero, Anthony Joshua. Ruiz proved to have an incredible chin as he took one of AJ's biggest uppercuts face on. Ruiz was absolutely smashed by Joshua's fists here. And yet, did he let this stop him? Of course not. Ruiz famously hit the canvas for a few seconds, only to get back up and pummel the champion with some of the fastest heavyweight flurry combinations seen for years. Ruiz went on to knock Anthony Joshua down not once but twice. This caused absolute uproar amongst fight fans across the world. But what did this teach us about Anthony Joshua? Well, AJ used the defeat to actually improve his boxing ability. He learned from the failure and turned it into a strength. In the rematch between the two, Joshua showed the world his incredible ability to enhance his boxing intelligence from previous experience. He met Ruiz with a completely different game plan, keeping his opponent at a distance for the entire fight and entirely outboxing him as a result. Joshua seemed to effortlessly regain his titles, and fight fans across the world let out a huge sigh of relief as Joshua tied his belts back around his waist, safely where they belong. Well, that being said, if both Usyk and Joshua have both displayed elite high levels of boxing intelligence, what about their other abilities? There is absolutely no doubt that Usyk is fast, powerful, unpredictable, and tough as nails. In fact, he has been dubbed the perfect problem for AJ. He is an absolute enigma, and fight fans across the world, let alone AJ himself, are left scratching their heads on how exactly Usyk can be beaten in the ring. We know already that Joshua is an expert at setting up killer combos. Just look at the way he fought off Dillian Whyte here. He fights patiently, looking for the perfect moment to open his opponent up. And when the opportunity arrives, he strikes with incredible aggression.
Finally got it. Is this the breakthrough?
Like he did in round one.
Rocked by that big right hand. We're looking to size him up. Gets another room. There's a from Whyte, but the legs are betraying him, and down he goes. Surely no way up here. But Whyte, it's stopped. It's over. Dramatic and unbelievable at the finish. Just asked a lot of questions tonight.
Joshua has also shown an incredible ability to fight toe-to-toe. He is able to square up to his opponent in furious exchanges of heavy blow after heavy blow. This is exactly what happened against Klitschko, as both boxers took it in turns to unleash hell and knock each other down to the canvas. Just look at the power behind some of these shots. This is enough to take the head off any mere mortal for sure.
Beyond punching range. Oh, what a right uppercut from Anthony Joshua. My goodness. Vladimir Klitschko shaking down his boots. And a combination sent Klitschko down to the canvas. But they've got him back into the corner. And Anthony Joshua teeing off. Referee David Field has stepped in. And Anthony Joshua has stopped his...
But what about the fighting style of Usyk? Well, time and time again, this warrior has shown us how he prefers to fight on the front foot. He brings the fight aggressively and without fear to his opponent. And just look at the speed on this man. Usyk moves truly like lightning. Boxing fans will often praise their favorite heavyweight as being super fast and agile, but with Usyk there is no need to be biased. He is the real deal. Just see how fast he moves here. His style is to come out like a pack of wolves, throwing super fast southpaw shots at his opponent, just looking for the perfect opportunity. Usyk has a strong and well-timed jab, as well as some formidable hook power. We saw this all especially in Usyk's fight against Marco Huck, one of the longest reigning cruiserweight world champions of all time, having made 13 consecutive successful defenses. Just look at Usyk's incredible footwork here. But without a doubt, one of the best performances and the biggest challenges Usyk has faced in his career so far was his clash with Tony Bellew. Tony Bellew beat David Haye twice in the heavyweight division. David Haye had been considered one of the best cruiserweights of all time. Bellew became a huge name in the UK and was the only world-class opponent in the cruiserweight division who Usyk set his heart on beating. For Usyk, this win would make him the undisputed champion. Bellew, however, was looking to increase his legacy at the age of 36 years old. Just look at the way these two fought here. Usyk was undeniably absolutely ferocious. You can almost imagine this is Usyk versus Joshua right now. If Usyk can bring this level of intensity against Joshua, who knows? It may just prove too much for the world's favorite heavyweight champion. But what do you think? Let us know in the comments below. That said, an added level of difficulty here is that Usyk fights southpaw, which means Joshua will have to adapt for this fight in more ways than one. AJ may even be offered expert sparring with the likes of Luis King Kong Ortiz, a two-time world title challenger, among others, as he radically changes his training plans for the southpaw threat posed by Oleksandr Usyk. Well, one thing's for sure, both fighters will need to prepare extremely well for this one. Fortunately for the fight world, Joshua versus Usyk may be happening much sooner than initially anticipated. The WBA, IBF, and WBO champion has been ordered to face Usyk, his WBO mandatory challenger, after the collapse of a proposed undisputed world heavyweight title fight against Tyson Fury, which was previously scheduled to take place later this summer. Fury was ordered to rematch Deontay Wilder after a recent arbitration ruling, so the August date set for the unification bout has now been pushed back indefinitely. We all know that fight fans across the world are eagerly waiting for this fight to take place. But who do you think has the best chance of winning? Let us know in the comments. But the truth is, only time will tell. Don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel. And while you're at it, left hook the bell icon for future updates to our videos.